Hi, thanks for joining me today. Are you told that you knew what you were getting into when you joined a step family? Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know every time I post. Did you know what you were getting into when you became a step family? The answer to that question is very likely to be no. But the obvious fact that is plain to see is that those stepchildren or that stepchild is not yours. But you do not realise the full ramifications of that statement or fact. Because the child is not yours, you are in a position of influence only. You don't have the right, and you don't have the responsibility, and you don't have the say in how things are going to be. So suddenly, everything in your home can be up for grabs, and other people who don't live in your home can have a say about where you go on holiday, how you organise your routines, how you organise your house, how you spend your time, and how you spend your money, for example. You, because you're not the parent, are therefore in a position of influence only. You have no real say. So whereas you might have thought things might be done by negotiation or agreement, or because things make sense, you suddenly find that you're living a life that is not of your choosing. You're having to do things in ways that you don't agree with. It may be that the child or children are parented in a way that you disagree with. And yet, really, your position is one of influencing the other parent, but not of actually always being able to have a hand. The child themselves has come from a previous background, depending on how old they are, depends how much they bring to the family. But the chances are that they've been through a certain amount of trauma to get to be in a step family. So often you're not dealing with a child who responds normally to things. You might be dealing with an anxious child, or a child who worries unduly, or is ill or quite a lot of the time, or has difficulties. They've come through things that quite often families in traditional settings have not. And that's not all. Their culture and what they do and their habitual ways of being can be very jarring with yours for no good reason. You can sort of find that their sense of humour is completely different to yours, or what they want to talk about is different, or what they like to do, or everything can begin to jar. So whereas you can think you're going into a family where it'll all be okay, often you get into the family and you feel as though you're living in a flat share arrangement where you're having to tolerate all sorts of different ways of doing things, acceptable ways of being. Everything is different. And therefore you feel slightly ostracised from what's going on in the family. And they sort of act as though they were there first. So you have no say. It is an extremely sobering realization when actually your tolerance levels about being in a step family have to go up, and you hadn't expected it. You had expected you and your partner to be able to live your lives in a home and the children would join you. Often that's not the case. The children dictate. Sometimes I've heard step parents say it's like they get up in the morning and they feel they've got to take an anti-rejection pill every day just to cope, because you have to put up with so much being different and you have no real say, or your say is dependent on your partner and you agreeing with them. So it is a very difficult situation. And what can you do about this? Well, the first thing I'd say is to look at your expectations and see what you had hoped for and bring it back from there to where it is, as opposed to where you want it to be. Family life is always stressful, so it's about making it as stress-free as possible. I would suggest putting in systems to carry the load. And by that I mean, don't be the one pushing for change or for things to be a certain way or for things to happen like this. If you don't like what's happening, work at getting the household to have a system where it works at a tolerance level that you can accept. So you introduce into the family rules that they all agree to, that meets your criteria too. And you do that through better communication, because communication in step families often gets lost and that it isn't good. So concentrate on communication, understanding what's going on, what people want, and compromising, holding meetings, setting baseline rules so that people behave in ways which are tolerable for everybody, and everybody knows what's expected of them. And then that way you can get your expectations met too. Don't try and do everything yourself or be the initiator or the teller of things. Instead, take a step back, put in a system of rules and expectations, and praise people for meeting those expectations, and you'll get a lot further. Have a look at what you've got and where you are with this step family. Make a list of the things that you do like about it, the things that you do like doing, the pluses to you becoming a step family, and concentrate on those. But one of the most important things to do as a step parent in a step family is to look after yourself so that you are happy enough in your life that you are good to continue in this step family. Now that might mean taking positive steps to look after yourself, do things that you want to do away from the family if necessary, follow interests, keep up with friends, do the things, make your life worthwhile independently of the family. And then that way you will be able to continue to give and be in the family and make it as good as it can possibly be. Remember that virtually nothing is 100% the way you'd like it, and step families are often very far off that. But make it acceptable to you and you'll be fine. And in the end, it might be better than fine. It'll be good or even great in your step family. But tolerance, patience, giving it time and letting and putting in systems to carry the load are great ways to take it forward for now. We run workshops, sessions, and email response service, and we write booklets. Look in the description box below for links to our social media and website.